All right. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about this. Over the last couple of years, we've talked about how a number of cities in the United States are sanctuary cities. As of a couple of years ago, there were close to 600 sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, and sanctuary counties. Now, why do we bring those up? Because there is such a demand by the migrants who are coming to this country. They're looking for a place to go. And Greg Abbott is giving them a choice, essentially, because we know for a couple of months he's been shipping via bus migrants from our southern border to first Washington and then New York. And last night, 8 o'clock, look at that. A bus in Chicago. That's new. 60 people got off, mainly from Venezuela.
And that was one of the buses, but there were actually a total of 2. They pulled right into Union Station. They're saying an estimate of 60 to 100 people, including 20 to 30 small children. And this is just the latest city to see the bus rolling in from Texas, because the governor down there is saying, we can't do all of this on our own. Y'all are sanctuary cities. You're saying it's okay for illegals to come in, so you help pay for it.
That's the invitation.
And this is because there's no leadership in the White House. We are actually having, in our lifetime, a war between the states, saying, you can't leave me with this burden, and the federal government's not going to step in. I'm spreading the burden out. Those midnight flights are controversial enough that just drop people in our city, and they end up in our school system. They go to the NGOs, and those people clothe them and house them, and then send them off to 4th grade, send them off to 11th grade, or maybe make sure that they have housing. And then Texas is tired of it. Arizona is tired of it. I'm sure New Mexico and California are tired of it. And now they're saying, okay, you deal with it then. But the message, sadly, on the outside is chaos in America, and now's the time to come.
Yeah.
You see this, it looks great. So if I'm in Venezuela dealing with a terrible regime, if I'm impoverished in Guatemala, and I'm saying to myself, I owe it to my family to go, I will get in. You are 100% right. So do you realize how much worse this is going to get in the fall? And the administration has never asked about it. The president will not sit down and try to justify his policy at the border because he doesn't do any interviews.
Well, one of the people who got off the bus that we just saw spoke to the Chicago Sun-Times, and they said, why'd you come to Chicago? And the guy goes, well, I wanted to go to New York because I heard more people speak Spanish in New York. But you know what? There were no options, so I got on the bus. That's how I wound up in Chicago.
Right.
Now
maybe they'll end up on Second City.
You never know. That's the comedy group. In the meantime, there's a war of words between the Texas governor and the mayor of Chicago.
So this is the governor from Texas. To continue providing much-needed relief to our small, overrun border towns, Chicago will join fellow sanctuary cities, Washington, D.C. and New York City, as an additional drop-off location. Mayor Lightfoot loves to tout the responsibility of her city to welcome all, regardless of legal status. And I look forward to seeing this responsibility in action as these migrants receive resources from a sanctuary city with the capacity to serve them.
So what'd the mayor say?
Then the mayor says, unfortunately, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is without any shame or humanity. But ever since he put these racist practices of expulsion into place, we have been working with our community partners to ready the city to receive these individuals.
And then what does Ainsley say?
Ainsley says that I understand that the governor can't bear the brunt of all of this, and he has to share. He's been asking for help, and no one's listening. Our president's not going to the border. Kamala Harris is not going to the border. So he says, fine, I will send them to you. If you're not going to come down here and meet them, I will send them to you, and we can all take responsibility.
Right, because Texas is not a sanctuary state. So send them to a sanctuary city or a sanctuary state or a sanctuary county. That's what Greg Abbott is doing.
Is Austin, though, a sanctuary city?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a county.
Good point. And there are a bunch of them in California.
Right.
So they might be next.
So now this is what happens. You wanted them, you got them. It reminded me of, I remember the actor that came out and told all the homeless, come to my house. Do you remember that? It'll come to me.
And they did? It was a movie?
And it was a joke, and then he said all of a sudden they got overwhelmed when all the homeless showed up. Because you could have you could act as tolerant as you want, but then when at your doorstep,
was it Gavin Newsom?
It might as well have been. That's a state.
He's a comedian.
He does say, come to California.
So Karine Jean-Pierre, she created outrage 48 hours ago when she said, you can't just walk into our country. Yes, you can, unvaccinated. The answer obviously is yes, and outraged sheriffs across the border. Again, the issue is not only people coming here illegally, then you have other people who have evil intentions coming here, and then you have drugs, people making a profit and to kill Americans. Starts with China, given to the cartels, and then from the cartels it floods across our border. That's what Peter brought up to the press secretary.
300 overdoses a day now. We know how the fentanyl is coming into the country. It's coming right across the southern border. The DEA administrator says so. So when is the president going to do something?
So I will say that you have seen a 200% increase of fentanyl seizures, which means that we are doing the job of catching drug traffickers.
Life
seizures.
expectancies are going down at a rate not seen in a century, and part of that is being driven by drug overdoses. So what is the president going to do?
And we agree. We see those same numbers as well. But the fact that we are securing the border.
It's not being stopped. 300 overdoses. This is being designed to target children. Drug cartels in Mexico want to kill American kids. What is this president doing about it?
I hear you. I just laid out 200% of increase of drug fentanyl seizures. That is a dangerous drug that we are taking off the street. We are going to continue to focus. This is an important priority for this president.
Well, if it's such an important priority, particularly yesterday, which was Overdose Awareness Day, why aren't they stopping 100% of the fentanyl coming into this country? Because how many times have we heard about the hundreds of thousands of gotaways, the people who got into the country, never even saw somebody from Border Patrol? Those are the people who are bringing the fentanyl into the country and killing Americans daily. And the administration, because they have an open border policy, kind of looking the other way. Peter's questions were spot on, and her answers were not satisfactory, particularly to people who have lost a loved one to fentanyl.
It's basically, I feel like it's the Biden administration saying, we don't care.
We don't.
We don't care if there's a lot of fentanyl coming over, and there's a direct correlation. We're seeing the numbers higher on the border, and we're also seeing more fentanyl deaths. There's a correlation there, because that's where the fentanyl is coming in. It's like they don't care. If your child is going to die and take a pill, sorry, we're not closing the border.
Don't you remember?
If you don't want high gas prices, sorry, we're still closing the Keystone Pipeline. Do they care about the American people and how much we're spending and how much we're losing lives of our children?
No, they gave us the rolling blackout. And also, I remember Kellyanne Conway was in charge of the fentanyl and talking to schools and setting up a program. She was on our show multiple times during the 4 years of this administration. Where is their drugs are? Where is their focus on even be selfish? You'll get votes if you go to suburban America and say, I understand you got a huge fentanyl problem. I'm here to help. But so far, yet the president mentioned it once.
It's a great idea.
In Pennsylvania.
Think about when we were in elementary school. I remember the cops would come to our school. Nancy Reagan had just come out with Just Say No. We all wore those emblems, and I will never smoke. I remember yes. It really made if you start hitting these kids at an early age in elementary school, and I know it seems hokey and it seems like it's cliche, but it really made a difference in the lives of so many kids that I grew up with, because we didn't want to touch it, because we were scared about what the things, what the consequences would be. And if you wanted to join the military, I remember saying, oh, I'll never do that, because what if I want to join the military or go to a naval academy, or what if I wanted to run for president one day? Those were reasons that prevented us when we were growing up from doing these drugs.
And coming up in the next half hour, hear from a parent whose child went to school, had one of those drug awareness things, came home with a Narcan tablet.
Right.
The mother is furious. You'll hear why in a moment.